dance for joy or lust or anger, and every time you haven't got it right, you're one of us.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars that you could buy between a budget of £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2013 Nissan Qashqai J10 1.6 Acenta. I think this is the definition of a sensible used car for under £5,000. It's currently for sale at LSB Car Sales. They factor them in Berkshire for $4,995. But is it any good? Should you get? Let's find out, shall we? So the first generation Qashqai, known as the J10, arrived in this country in 2007. It replaced both the Primera and the Almera, and sort of began to define a sort of market segment, although there were quite a few cars that were sort of like this before. You know, you could talk about the Suzuki Grand Vitara, although it's a bit more off-road focused. You could talk about the Suzuki SX4 that came out slightly before this, although it's a bit smaller, and then many others. Honda HR-V sort of springs to mind immediately. It's a car that kind of tried to do a similar thing like this, being a bit more sort of on-road focused. And indeed, most of the Qashqais that you will find actually are front-wheel drive. You could get a 4x4 model, but those tend to be relatively rare. So Nissan was spot on with the way in which they developed the car to be primarily on-road focused. There are some problems with these cars sometimes, but the petrol engines aren't necessarily one of them. There was a 1.6 like this with 112 horsepower, which does 0 to 62 in about 12 seconds, and then a 2 litre with 138 horsepower that does 0 to 62 in about 10.1 seconds. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So actually, although the Qashqai in some ways is quite sort of vanilla in sort of many respects, it's actually alright to drive. It's fine. I know that Mr. Waters from Scottish Car Enthusiast Trains TV used to have one of these, and I think he quite enjoyed it. It's not the fastest thing, it's not the most dynamic, it's maybe not the most stylish, but it's a very functional car that will just appeal to a lot of people, particularly because prices are quite tempting now in the early ones. I've also heard of some of these doing like over 300,000 miles, so I mean that says something, doesn't it? So I've never actually driven one of these J10 Qashqais before. I don't know why, it's just never kind of happened. Not got too long with this car. I've requested a very short notice, so if things are a bit rushed, then that's why. Acenta trim, this one with the 1.6 litre petrol engine. Front end is the facelifted one that came in at around, I think it was 2010. Last year of production for the J10 was actually 2013, so this is a late one. It's a very familiar sight, but you know, when these cars came out around 2006 in some cases and 2007 I think in this country, they were not the first car of this type really, but they were certainly a car that popularised this type, I would say. Parking sensors on this one, all the sort of chunky trim and things like that. This one I believe is just a 2-wheel drive model. You could get 4-wheel drive as well. The boot handle's actually still attached to this one, which is amazing. Most of them you see, it's fallen off. Hopefully that dealer plate will stay in place, although it might not. It's just, be careful viewers. Stay there. Right, 410 litre boot actually, which is quite good for this type of car at the time. Even the sort of Suzuki Vitara that's still being sold today has got less space than that. Tyre inflation kit, which is a shame. I would prefer a space saver or something like that, but never mind. Boot light is there. Big parcel shelf in this one for some reason. Little touches there, like a bit to sort of hold something in there. Not really much to say particularly. Other than we've got parking sensors, which is nice. I'll have to reattach that a bit better when I go out for a drive, I think. And we get in the back. One of the reasons people bought these cars in such large numbers was because it was easy to get in and out, obviously things and people. If you are, you know, someone with restricted mobility, then this is probably a better choice than the old Almera that this replaced. Cup holders in there. Isofix child seats, that's good. Also we've got cutouts for the front seats in terms of putting your knees in there, so that's actually fine. I'm 5'11" and got loads of room. You get a plus 2 model of course as well with 2 extra seats. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. The seat from the middle passenger comes from there. We've got excuse me, an armrest here. Solve that away. The interior of this car, considering it's done like I think 96,000 miles this car's done, it's actually pretty good. It's worn quite well. Considering this is a family car, that's quite impressive really. Yeah, but it's not particularly the highest quality, but it's just got little touches in it, like these very big door bins. You sort of think that people with sort of real families have had a hand in designing this car and thinking about what it is that somebody actually needs. Curtain airbags in here as well. I think 6 airbags in all these cars. Yeah, it's not the highest quality plastic or anything, but it's fine for what you would need on a daily basis. That feels quite nice though, that sort of armrest in the middle. Right, let's go into the front. Okay, this car's actually got powerful mirrors, which is nice. Plenty of adjustment in the seat. And do we have a little thing that says this is made in Sunderland? I don't know, but they were. Quite big door bins actually in there. So power shot driver's window. Again, it's not the nicest feeling plastic, but it's fine. Like, you're going to use this as a normal family car. I doubt it really matters. It's got some nice clear instruments in here. Very big dials actually. This one's got cruise control, which is good, and you know, there's all the buttons for the stereo and things like that. Dual zone climate control, CD player with aux in. You know, what more is it that you actually need? I've heard generally these are quite reliable cars as well. The petrol engines, they're pretty good. One thing you've got to be careful of is when you're opening the bonnet or the fuel flap, you don't open both accidentally, because that could be a bit of a pain. Nice leather trim steering wheel, 5-speed manual in this one. You could get an automatic as well. And then the space for putting alternate in there. 12-volt socket there. The aux in is somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that is actually. Is it in here? Yeah, there it is. And a USB. Oh, brilliant. Probably because being a facelift one, you get a bit more stuff. That doesn't feel very good though, that glove box lid, but I'm really sort of splitting hairs here. Let's see if we can get the secret mission documents in, as we usually do. There we go. Yes, I mean that's easy. I mean, I know it'll fit in there as well, so I don't need to demonstrate that. Excellent. Right, no sunglasses on unfortunately, but never mind. Oh, we have got a rear courtesy light. That's good. It's better than an MGZS. So look under the bonnet and not pull the wrong lever. That's better, isn't it? So, 1.6 litre engine in this car, generating about 112 horsepower. Used in quite a lot of other Nissan models as well. I've heard these engines are honestly pretty good. So, yes, probably not too much to worry about under here. Access looks quite good as well. Gearbox is down there, all pretty standard. A bit more height than a standard car, gives you a bit more sort of room under the bonnet. Yeah, facelift looks good with these very nice clear headlamps. Other than that, rather like most of the Qashqai, it's all very sort of straightforward and functional, and there's not a lot else to say. Okay, let's get off another drive, shall we? One of the areas I've heard about that can be problematic on these J10 Qashqais is the rear axle, but that is generally when the cars have done very, very high mileage. I don't think I've seen too many rusty ones. They probably are starting to rust now, but you know, the first ones were built in 2006 and then were released onto the market in 2007, so maybe that's not so surprising. But trade plate has slightly moved. I think we'll be okay. Just a short trip back to the dealership. Yeah, the ride's okay. Drive's okay. It doesn't roll as much as I expected in the corners. Engine's quite quiet. It's a very sort of, you know, standard 1.6 16 valve power unit. It's nothing extraordinary about it, but you know, that's fine. The average person who's not really that interested in cars necessarily, but just needs something to get them around, one of these would do absolutely fine. Let's now look at some J10 Qashqai trim levels. Was the Vizia, the Tecna, N-Tech, N-Tech Plus, Acenta, like this one, the Sound and Style, I don't know what that one particularly was, and the 360, which actually generally has 360 cameras on it. The car was actually built in a number of other places than just Sunderland. It was built in Japan, at St. Petersburg in Russia, in China and in Iran. You know, they're simple to get parts for, there's tons of them around. This one's actually a really nice example. Even though it's done 96,000 miles, it feels a lot younger than that actually. So it's obviously been well cared for. Yeah, I mean, I'm not getting excited about it, not even for 2 litre petrol, that's a little bit faster than this. But that's okay. Not every journey you make in life needs to be exciting. We've got all what we probably need in this car to use as daily transport and to carry the family around. You can even get the Plus 2 model if you need a bit more space, although those tend to be a bit more problematic for some reason.